Whispers in the silence. Anna felt it first as a whisper, a fleeting unease, a chill down her spine. The world, once vibrant and clear, began to shimmer at the edges. Shadows seemed to linger longer, whispering secrets in the twilight. Laughter felt strained, joy a distant memory. Her sleep, once a sanctuary, became haunted by vivid nightmares. Faces contorted in grotesque masks, their hollow eyes boring into her soul. She'd wake in a cold sweat, the echo of their silent screams ringing in her ears. Days blurred into a disorienting haze. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, twisting familiar thoughts into grotesque shapes. Anna tried to cling to normalcy, but a creeping dread was slowly encasing her in its icy grip. Shadows lengthen, reality blurs. The world, once a source of comfort, became a stage for her torment. Everyday sounds morphed into menacing whispers. Faces in the crowd twisted into sneering masks, their eyes judging, accusing. Her reflection in the mirror became a stranger, her eyes reflecting a growing terror she couldn't quite place. Her once sharp mind felt clouded, thoughts like quicksilver impossible to grasp. Simple tasks became insurmountable challenges. Anxiety gnawed at her insides, a constant, throbbing ache that stole her breath and left her trembling. She tried to explain this growing disquiet to her friends, but the words caught in her throat. How could she articulate the terror that clawed at her from within, the insidious fear that whispered she was losing her mind? The weight of whispers. Their reactions when she finally stammered out fragmented sentences of her fear solidified her isolation. Discomfort flickered in their eyes, followed by awkward silences and hasty reassurances that everything was just stress. Their words, meant to comfort, felt like stones piled upon her chest. Their inability to comprehend the storm raging within her amplified her loneliness. She was a ghost in her own life, unseen, unheard. The stigma of mental illness, a suffocating blanket of shame and judgment, settled upon her. She retreated further into herself, her silence a shield against their well-meaning but hurtful dismissals. Isolation's embrace, a prison of fear. Anna found herself trapped within the confines of her own mind, where the whispers echoed relentlessly, and trapped by the invisible bars of societal stigma. Fear became her constant companion, a suffocating presence that permeated every aspect of her existence. She withdrew from the world, seeking refuge within the four walls of her apartment. But there was no escaping the haunting. The darkness whispered her name, the shadows elongated, morphing into menacing figures. Her sanctuary had become her prison. Loneliness became a physical ache, a constant weight pressing down on her chest. Her once bright spirit dimmed, consumed by the insidious tendrils of despair. Days bled into nights, marked only by the rising and setting of the sun. She lost track of time, her life shrinking to the confines of her bed and the ever-present whispers that taunted her sanity. The line between reality and nightmare blurred. Was she awake, or was this just another layer of her torment? The vibrant, capable woman she once was felt like a distant memory, a faded photograph of a stranger. In her place was a hollow shell, consumed by self-doubt and a gnawing sense of worthlessness. The darkness whispered seductive promises of oblivion, of escape from the relentless torment. The thought of surrendering to the abyss, of finally silencing the voices, held a terrifying allure. The gnawing guilt self-inflicted wounds. Guilt twisted like a knife in Anna's gut. Shame whispered that her suffering was a choice, a weakness she should be able to overcome. This self-inflicted incrimination became another layer of her torment, a vicious cycle that tightened its grip with each passing day. She berated herself for pushing away loved ones, for withdrawing from the world that now seemed a million miles away. Yet the energy required to reach out, to explain the inexplicable, felt like an insurmountable hurdle. The fear of judgment, of being labeled as crazy or unstable, was a shackle on her soul. So she remained silent, her silence a testament to the insidious power of stigma. A glimmer in the darkness. A hand reaches out. Just as the darkness threatened to consume her entirely, a glimmer of light pierced through the cracks in her despair. A concerned neighbor, noticing her weeks-long absence, knocked on her door, her voice gentle but persistent. The simple act of human connection, of someone acknowledging her existence, was like a lifeline thrown into a stormy sea. Tears, long suppressed, streamed down Anna's face as she confessed her struggles, the words tumbling out in a torrent of pain and relief. The neighbor listened without judgment, her empathy a balm to Anna's wounded spirit. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, Anna felt seen, heard, and understood. Acceptance, the first step to healing. The road to recovery was long and arduous, a winding path fraught with setbacks and moments of crippling doubt. But with the support of her neighbor, Anna sought professional help. A therapist's compassionate guidance and a diagnosis, far from being a label, was a beacon of hope. She began to understand that her illness was not a sign of weakness or a character flaw, but a chemical imbalance in her brain. This realization, while initially difficult to accept, was ultimately liberating. It wasn't her fault. She wasn't broken, and with time, effort, and the right support, she could heal. A plea for understanding, breaking the stigma. Anna's journey is a stark reminder that mental illness can afflict anyone, regardless of age, background, or social standing. It is a plea for understanding, for empathy, and for the dismantling of the harmful stigma surrounding mental health. We must break the silence. We must reach out to those who are struggling, offer a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, and unwavering support. We must treat mental illness with the same compassion and urgency as any other health condition. For in a world where compassion prevails, there is no room for the haunting within.